Hello, welcome. I would like to call to order the Cumberland School Committee special meeting Thursday, June 15th, 2017, and ask that you please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Thank you. Next item on the agenda is the approval of the agenda. Pleasure of the committee. Mr. Fiorillo has a motion to approve. Do I have a second? Second by Mr. Denon. All in favor? Ayes have it, 7-0. Next item on the agenda is discussion and/or vote to rescind teacher non-renewal recommendations. Mrs. Okay.
Actually, Mrs. Fogel just had to leave for a personal family matter. She had to bring her son someplace.
Okay.
Not that anybody needs to know that, but
So, Mr. Mitchell, or committee, this is an item that has been discussed with this committee. So if anyone has any questions or the pleasure of the committee for passage. I got it right. I apologize. Yep, thank you, Mr. Denon. Makes a motion for the vote to rescind the teacher non-renewals 1 through 47. Do I have a second? Second by Mr. Hess. All in favor? Ayes have it, 7-0. Thank you. Next item on the agenda, discussion and/or vote to approve employment contracts. Elementary principal. Mr. Mitchell? Oh, I'm sorry. Mr. DeMonica, I apologize.
Mr. Chairman, this was heard up in fiscal. It is budgeted. It is a one-year contract to bring this contract in line with the other administrators that will expire next year. The principal is aware of it and has no problem, so I would move that it pass. It did include a 1.5% increase. That was the increase that the other administrators got as well. So I would move passage. It was approved upstairs 3-0.
Thank you, Mr. DeMonica. We're going to do each of these separately. So pleasure. Mr. DeMonica has a motion. Do I have a second? Second by Mr. Fiorillo. All in favor? Ayes have it, 7-0. Next item, Mr. DeMonica, is district support technician.
District support technician, we have, it's budgeted item. It is to work in our IT department here, and it was approved upstairs on a 3-0 vote. I would move passage.
Mr. DeMonica moves passage for the district support technician. Do I have a second? Mr. Denon has a second. All in favor? Ayes have it. Next item on the agenda, communications consultant, Mr. DeMonica.
Again, that was upstairs on a 3-0 vote. We approved to extend the contract out 1 year with Martin Associates.
Thank you, Mr. DeMonica.
Approved upstairs 3-0.
Mr. DeMonica, every line item here has been budgeted?
Yes, it is budgeted.
Thank you. Do I have a second? Second by Mr. Fiorillo. All in favor?
Aye.
Ayes have it. Next item, Mr. DeMonica, is the high school principal.
This one is the high school principal. I know she's here.
The high school principal here?
And we kind of waive it for about 20 minutes, but no, it is budgeted. There's a 1-year contract, and welcome. So it was approved upstairs 2-0.
Mr. DeMonica is moving passage on the high school principal. Do I have a second? Second by Mr. Denon. All in favor? Ayes have it, 7-0. Congratulations. He's not here? No, okay. Yep. Next item on the agenda, discussion and a vote to approve appointment of high school principal.
Mr. Chairman, if you don't mind, I'll go down to the podium. Is that okay?
Please, Mr. Mitchell.
Good evening, everyone. And forgive me for having my back to you, members of the audience. It is my pleasure to introduce to all of you Donna Charlton, who I will be recommending as the next principal of Cumberland High School. So let me just tell you a little bit about Donna and the time that we've spent together. We've actually spent, I was just thinking about this, we probably have spent about, in total, between 4 and 5 hours having conversations about high school leadership, the unique idiosyncrasies and characteristics of Cumberland High School. You know, every school has its unique characteristics, and we spent a lot of time talking about that. We spent a lot of time talking about where Cumberland High School was and where they are now, and about the high expectations that we all have to continue the good work that is happening there. During my many conversations with Donna, one of the things that I was really focusing in on were issues related to leadership. And I'm pleased to report that I was really impressed in a number of areas. We talked about leadership, instructional leadership in areas of teaching and learning. We talked about building an organizational leadership, things like creating and implementing a high school schedule, which is a pretty complicated thing. And we also talked about the fact that walking into a position like this at this particular point in time is a significant undertaking, and at times will be a little overwhelming. But we're going to be here to support her, and I know that the staff is really interested in getting to know her, and I know that they are very interested in supporting her as well. So just a little bit about Donna's background. She is currently living in Cumberland with her husband, Troy, who's with her this evening. Before moving to Cumberland, Donna was a middle school principal in Rogers, Arkansas for 5 years. And before that, Donna was an assistant high school principal in Cyber Fairfax Independent School District in Houston, Texas. So Donna comes to us with 16 years of administrative experience at the secondary level, which I thought was really important. So I am really excited to have Donna on our team. I'm looking forward to working with her this summer. In fact, we've already, like I said, been working together on a number of things, and really looking forward to working with her over the next several years. So with that, I would ask that the school committee support the appointment of Donna Charlton as the next principal of Cumberland High School.
Thank you, Mr. Mitchell. Mr. Mitchell, we have a motion for Mr. Fiorillo. Do I have a second? Second by Mr. Denon. All in favor? Ayes have it, 7-0. Welcome.
You're the new principal.
Mrs. Charlton, if you would like to say a couple of words.
Members of the school committee, the superintendent, assistant superintendent, and anyone I have missed, thank you so much for welcoming me here this evening. I am so excited to be a part of Cumberland Public Schools. Um, as Mr. Mitchell said, I do have a lot of years of experience just as an administrator, but prior to that, spent, I believe it was approximately 12, 13 years as a classroom teacher in various content areas and capacities. Once you get my age with all of that experience, sometimes the numbers get a little fuzzy, so I can't remember if the total is exactly 26, 27, or 28, but it's somewhere in that realm.
Was that your age? 26.
No, not by a long shot, but we're going to keep that a secret. But again, I am very happy to be here. I cannot wait to get started. And I know that the community and the students who are returning, as well as their parents, are probably very anxious about next year. And I hope to assuage some of that anxiety just by some of the things that I hope to enact this summer. I have already made contact with some very key people in the building, and we're going to get started with formal issues regarding the assistant principals sometime next week. So again, I'm very happy to be here, and I thank you for welcoming me and for approving this appointment. Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Charlton. So Mrs. Charlton, we're very excited to have you on board. And I'm going to ask every school committee member to reach out to you when you get settled in, acclimated, to talk to you about your visions and your goals and any concerns they may have on what they would like to see, and you can explain yourself as well. So,
okay,
excellent.
I welcome that.
Welcome
Thank
aboard. Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
Just one, are you gonna get a real Patriot shirt versus the Patriot shirt from Rogers?
Absolutely. We are leaving here to go get it after this meeting. We won.
Welcome, welcome aboard.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next item on the agenda, discussion and/or vote to approve resolutions. Are you ready, Mr. DeMonica? The first item, SCR 2017-04.
Mr. Chairman, this was heard upstairs. It's a power in the school committee to extend the contract with Sedesco Maintenance through June 30th, 2018 in the amount of $659,750. There were no changes to the contract itself, and it was approved upstairs on a 2-to-1 vote. I would move passage.
Thank you, Mr. DeMonica. Mr. DeMonica is moving passage on SCR 2017-04, not to exceed the amount of $659,750. Do I have a second? Second by Mr. Denon. All in favor?
Aye.
Ayes have it, 7-0.
Next, Mr.
I apologize. I apologize. The ayes have it 6-0 with Mr. Fiorillo. I'm sorry, 6-1 with Mr. Fiorillo voting against. Thank you.
All
Sorry.
right, next on the contract, on the resolutions is SCPR 6, 2017-07, empowering the school committee to award to K. Gallo Enterprises of Cranston in the amount of $2,350, and this is to repair the leaking roof at the Wellness Center. We're hoping that it gets resolved when they do find those leaks and make those changes. It passed upstairs on a 3-0 vote, and I move passage.
Thank you, Mr. DeMonica. Mr. DeMonica's recommending passage of SCPR 6, 2017 to K. Gallo Enterprise not to exceed the amount of $2,350. Do I have a second? Second by Mr. Hess. All in favor? Ayes have it. 7-0. Thank
Next,
you.
Mr. Chairman, is SCPR 6, 2017-08, empowering the school committee to award to K. Gallo Enterprises of Cranston in the amount of $4,400, and that's to replace the entire Sky Bridge roof. We did get a couple of prices, and we voted to go with the 4,400 to replace it all completely. It passed upstairs 3-0, and I moved passage.
Thank you. Mr. DeMonica. Mr. DeMonica moves passage of SCPR 6, 2017-08 to K Gallo Enterprise not to exceed $4,400. Do I have a second? Second by Mr. Fiorillo. All in favor? Against? Ayes have it. 7-0. Thank you.
Next is SCPR 6, 2017-09, a resolution empowering the school committee to award to Frank Lazard Glass of Rumford, Rhode Island, to replace acrylic domes at the high school, and the amount is $5,000. We amended it upstairs to stay within our policy, and that passed upstairs on a 3-0 vote, so I moved passage in the amount of $5,000.
Mr. DeMonica has made a recommendation for move of passage for SCPR 6, 2017-09 to Frank Lazat Glass not to exceed $5,000. Do I have a second? Second by Mr. Fiorillo. All in favor? Ayes. Against? Ayes have it, 7-0.
Next,
Thank
Mr. Chairman, is SCPR 6, 2017-10, resolution empowering the school committee to award to 3D Construction of Providence to remove the old walkway and replace with a new walkway from the parking lot to the front door at JJM Cumberland Hills School in the amount of $6,575. We did have a couple of bidders in regards to the amount, and passed upstairs on a 3-0 vote. This one, this company was not the lowest bidder, but it was the most qualified bidder that the business office in Sedesco felt could do the job. There was a lower bidder, but they've never done construction work for us in regards to cement work, and the business manager felt this would be better fit for our job. I would move passage.
Thank you, Mr. DeMonica. Mr. DeMonica is recommending passage of SCPR 6, 2017-10 to 3D Construction not to exceed $6,575. Do I have a second? Mr. Fiorillo has a second for discussion. Go ahead.
Mr. Prignano, because we're not going with the low bidder, do you need to write a letter stating why we're not going with the low bidder? Sure. Okay, I wasn't sure. I forgot to ask.
Yes.
So, Mr. Chairman, I would just add that when we get the letter, we attach it to the resolution.
Thank you, Mr. DeMonica. All in favor? Oh, any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Against? Ayes have it, 7-0. Thank you.
Next is SCPR 6, 2017-11, resolution empowering the school committee to award to K Gallo Enterprises of Cranston to paint the cafeteria JJM Cumberland Hill School in the amount not to exceed $3,800. We're replacing the ceilings, we're doing floor work, and we decided to have this painted as well. It's coming out of the facilities budget, approved upstairs, 3-0. I would move passage.
Thank you, Mr. DeMonica. Mr. DeMonica moves passage of SCPR 6, 2017-11 to K Gallo Construction not to exceed $3,800. Pleasure of the committee. Do I have a second? Second by Mr. Hess. All in favor? Against? Ayes have it, 7-0. Thank you.
Next is SCPR 6, 2017-12, resolution empowering the school committee to award to Ocean State Flooring of Blackstone to resurface the cafeteria at JJM Cumberland Hill in an amount not to exceed $5,000. This was amended upstairs. The original amount was $5,350, but to remain within our policy, it was amended upstairs. Ocean State is used by Sedesco to do our other gyms as well, and so we have amended this down to $5,000. So I would move passage in an amount not to exceed $5,000.
Thank you, Mr. DeMonica. Mr. DeMonica is made a recommendation to move passage for SC PR 6 2017-12 to Ocean State Flooring not to exceed $5,000. Do I have a second? Second by Mr. Denon and Mr. Fiorillo. All in favor? Against? Ayes have it, 7-0.
Next, SCPR 6, 2017-13, a resolution empowering the school committee to award to Freight Farms of Boston to install a self-contained vegetable farm at the Cumberland High School in the amount not to exceed $95,540. This is something that was in conjunction with the town. The mayor has offered to pay this amount out of the impact fees. It's going to go in front of the town council on June 29th. It's a program that'll help the children in Cumberland learn about growing vegetables, and will actually use the vegetables that they grow with Sedesco. And if the town doesn't fund the money, we would be taking it out of the food service account. It wouldn't cost the district anything, and it's being used here at the school. It passed upstairs, 3-0 vote. It's a sole source company, the only company that does it, so it didn't go out to bid. And I move passage.
Thank you, Mr. DeMonica. Mr. DeMonica is moving passage of SC PR 6 2017-13. Do I have a second? Mr. Fiorillo, second for discussion.
I just wanted to point out that I believe myself and Mr. Salvatore are the only two that actually saw the full presentation from Freight to Farm. It's an exciting program. The kids are going to love it. It will provide, I believe the vegetables will be harvested every week. Once they get going, it'll be done every week. It'll be a cyclical program. And it's not just about growing the vegetables, it's also all the engineering and science behind it. So students would be involved, and it could hopefully open up some future pathways for science education. Not to mention, it'll defray some of our vegetable costs for the cafeteria. It's a great program, and I look forward to the presentation for the full committee.
Thank you, Mr. Fiorillo. Any further discussion? All in favor? Mrs. Goggin, go ahead.
Do we know when we'll find out when the town is actually going to pay for it, or?
Mr. DeMonica?
We're told by the business manager June 29th is when they're going to have it on their agenda.
Yeah, I just want to mention that the mayor's been very supportive of this program.
Thank you. Any further discussion? All in favor? Against? Moves passage 6-1 with Mr. Denon voting against it. Thank you. Next item on the agenda.
Next is SCPR 6, 2017-14, resolution empowering the school committee to award to Arden Engineering to install a split heating and cooling system in the assistant superintendent's suite in the amount not to exceed $13,875. We had a couple of bidders for it. One of the lower other bidders was Gem at $13,875. They're not on the state bid list. K Gallo bid $12,300, but they're not on the list. And Arden Engineering did all the work here at McCourt as well this past year. And we are going to offer the job to Arden in the amount of $13,875 versus going to Gem Engineering. I would move passage. It passed upstairs 3-0.
Mr. DeMonica is recommending passage on SCPR 6 2017-14 not to exceed $13,875 to Arden. Do I have a second? Second by Mrs. Friedman. All in favor?
Aye.
Against? Ayes have it, 7-0. Thank you.
Next is SCPR 6, 2017-15, a resolution empowering the school committee to award to CSI of North Providence to repair numerous intercom issues in all the schools in an amount not to exceed $15,000. It's going to take care of about 70 issues thereabouts, maybe a few more, maybe a few less. Won't complete all of it, but it'll help with the communications, within the schools. The CSI of North Providence is on the state bid list, and I would move passage. It passed upstairs 3-0 in the amount of $15,000.
Mr. DeMonica is recommending passage of SCPR 6 2017-15, not to exceed the amount of $15,000 to CSI North Providence. Do I have a second? Second by Mr. Hess. All in favor? Against? Ayes have it, 7-0. Thank you.
Next is SCPR 6 2017-16 resolution authorizing and empowering the school committee to execute a purchase from Hub Technical Services of Southeastern Mass. And out of this, we're going to be getting 200 desktops, 18 laptops, and 60 hovercams. The hovercams are going to the various elementary schools. The laptops and the desktops are coming up here to the high school. Been a while since they have been updated and replaced. And the amount is $164,796.68. We have dealt with this company in the past, and they're off the Massachusetts Master Price Agreement. It passed upstairs in a 3-0 vote.
Mr. DeMonica, what was the name of the company again?
It's called Hub Technical Services.
Mr. DeMonica is recommending passage of SCPR 6 2017-16 in the amount of $164,796.68, not to exceed that, to Hub. Do I have a second? Second by Mr. Denon. All in favor? Against? Ayes have it, 7-0.
Next is SCPR 6 2017-17, resolution authorizing and empowering the school committee to execute a purchase from Hub Technical of Southeastern Mass for one Barracuda backup server in the amount not to exceed $4,787.57. It's budgeted in the FY 17-18 budgets, and it's being used in the tech department down here for our servers and so forth. I would move passage, passed upstairs 3-0.
Mr. DeMonica is recommending passage of SCPR 6 2017-17, not to exceed $4,787.57 to Hub Technical. Do I have a second? Second by Mr. Denon and by Mr. Hess. All in favor? Against? Ayes have it, 7-0.
Next is SCPR 6 2017-18, a resolution authorizing and empowering the Cumberland School Committee to execute a purchase with Cyber Communications of Warwick, Rhode Island for digital radios. It's a communication system for the high school. We're going to be going to a digital radios. It'll help with a lot of dead areas in the school here with the analog system that we're using. Cyber is used by the town and the state police. They're on the state bid list, and the amount is $12,775.13. We will have to get an FCC license and so forth, but it's needed up here at the high school for safety of the students. I passed upstairs, and I would move passage here to 0. I move passage.
Thank you, Mr. DeMonica. Mr. DeMonica, was that amount $12,775.13?
That's correct.
Mr. DeMonica is recommending passage of SCPR 6 2017-18 to Cyber, not to exceed $12,775.13. Do I have a second? Second by Mr. Hess and Mrs. Friedman. All in favor? Ayes have it. I apologize. I hear the voice. I can't tell if it's Mrs. Friedman or Mrs. Goggin. Mr. Denon, you do not have a girl's voice. Next item on the agenda. Comments from the public. Hearing none. Next item on the agenda, personnel recommendations. Mr. Mitchell.
According to Mrs. Fogel, there were none this evening, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Mitchell. Next item on the agenda, to adjourn. Mr. Fiorillo has a motion to adjourn. Do I have a second by Mr. Hess? All in favor? Against? 7-0.